Hi, thank you for tuning into my channel. In this playlist, I will be sharing podcasts on a regular basis that will let you experience the Feldenkrais Method via awareness through movement lessons. In the lessons, I will talk you through all the steps. You listen and do at the same time. The lessons are designed to improve ability and reduce effort in movement. The speed of an exercise should always be adjusted to your breathing rhythm. For the lesson, find a place where you can lie down comfortably and wear clothing that doesn't interfere with your movements and breathing. Also, take a rest whenever you want to. There will be plenty of rests in the lesson, but if you need more, please do. The lessons have been recorded live while teaching a class. So this lesson is called Reaching Like a Skeleton. And as you lie on your back, notice how you're resting on the floor. And make yourself comfortable. So bend your knees if you like, or do stuff with your hands or arms. Really see, okay, play a bit with it, like, how am I comfortable? Warm, cuddly. And you can change it along the way also, of course. You don't have to just stay stiff, like, okay, I chose this position. And if you're wearing glasses, if you are comfortable with it, you can take them off. Just to see, I don't know, if that helps you get out of your day. And notice how you're breathing. And which parts of your body move as you breathe in. And when you breathe out. And are you resting on the floor? Or sinking into the floor? Or pressing against the floor at some parts? Maybe the floor is pressing into you. And which parts of you are not touching the floor? And do you feel how your legs connect to your pelvis? And your pelvis is connecting to your spine. And move up to how your head connects to the spine. And how your arms are connecting to your torso. And now bring your right hand forward, reaching toward the ceiling. Yes, yes, indeed. Your arm is somehow perpendicular in front of the right shoulder. If you have a sore right arm, do everything with the left arm. But that's up to you. I'll keep saying right arm, but if you want to do everything left arm, that's totally fine. You decide which arm. And now slowly start reaching toward the ceiling with your fingers a little bit. And then slowly stop reaching. And notice what's happening. And repeat this. So you reach with your right fingers toward the ceiling. And notice something happens in your fingers as you reach. and the palm of your hand, the back of your hand, and your wrist. And then your elbow straightens a little bit as you reach. And once your elbow is more straight, how do you keep going? Can you go further? What is it like to reach in that direction? And then slowly unreach. And then you reach again. And how does your contact with the floor change as you reach? And put your arm down and rest. Bring your right arm in front of you again, in front of your right shoulder, reaching with your fingers toward the ceiling. And again, slowly reach toward the ceiling and do it so slowly that you can keep track of what's happening. And don't go as far as you can, but notice what's happening in the beginning. What moves first? Does your hand move first? Or maybe your elbow starts to move first? And when does your shoulder get called into play? And when your right hand goes forward, how does the pressure on the left shoulder change? And what happens to your head? Does it roll? And is it rolling toward the arm that reaches? Or away from it? Or maybe it's not rolling at all. And what's happening with your breathing? Stop and put your arm down and rest. And what do you notice after having moved in this way? Now bend both knees and put your feet on the floor, a comfortable distance apart. And again, put your arm, right arm, or left if you prefer that, forward, like we just did. And reach forward toward the ceiling again. And notice if bent knees make it easier or more difficult to reach. So you reach, then you stop reaching, and notice if it's different now with your knees bent and your feet standing than when you were doing it with your legs long. Or maybe you were doing it with bent legs already, then you can try it with long legs just to see what is the difference. And now keep your arms straight in front of you with bent knees. And now slowly reach forward toward the ceiling, and then in one moment stop reaching, so drop it. The arm stays straight, but you just drop it. So it's like doof, like a bounce of the bones on top of each other, like tush. So slowly reach, and then just in an instant stop reaching. And repeat it a few times. And feel the weight of your arm drop into your shoulder. It just happens, gravity does it. And let go of this movement, put your arm down and rest a moment. And now again, bring your arm back in front of you. Slowly reach a little toward the ceiling and slowly let go of the reaching. And notice if moving it slowly up and fast down made a difference. Something changed. Repeat it a few times and then just stop and put your arm down. It's just to check. To check if doing something slightly different has an effect on the movement we've been doing so far. Now put your right hand on your left shoulder and rest your right elbow on your chest. So your right hand's on your left shoulder, your elbow's on your chest, and now lift your elbow a little bit toward the ceiling without your hand sliding. So your left arm stays on the floor, but the elbow that's on the chest goes toward the ceiling a little bit. And then you bring it back and repeat this. It's a small movement and your hand's not sliding, but something happens in your wrist. And notice what happens in the beginning. So don't go as far as you can go, but what happens in the beginning? Something happening in your wrist or in your hand. Something happens maybe in your shoulder joint. And maybe you can feel your shoulder blade moving. And as you bring your elbow a little bit toward the ceiling, is your shoulder blade pressing into the floor or going away from the floor? And is it sliding toward the pelvis or toward your head? And let go of the movement, put your arm down and rest. Come back to the same position, your knees bent, feet standing, and your right hand rests close to the left shoulder or on the left shoulder, your elbows resting on your chest. And now take your right shoulder a little bit up towards your ear and then back to the beginning. So your right hand resting on your left shoulder somewhere, elbows resting on the chest, and you just very lightly take the right shoulder toward the right ear a little bit and then back again. Slowly and comfortable. And let the arm rest as much as possible. It's just the right shoulder sliding toward the ear and then back down again. And again, what's happening in the beginning of this movement? And next time, bring your right shoulder back to the beginning position. And now keep moving down so it moves a tiny bit closer to the right side of the pelvis. And then bring it back again to the beginning position. And repeat that a few times. And what's happening here in the beginning? And with your arms in this position, stop the movement, but roll onto your left side. And keep your arm the same. And comfortably just roll to your left side. And now again, slide your right shoulder a little bit up toward the right ear. And then back down again. And then toward the right pelvis a little bit. So you move the shoulder up and a little bit down. Slowly. It's a direction, not a destination. And where is the center of where you change direction? That's an interesting question, right? Where is the center of where you change direction, going from up to down, and then again from down to up? See if you can feel it. Now stop doing the movement, but keep your arm the same and roll onto your right side. And now lying on your right side, do the same movement again. So bring your right shoulder a little bit closer to your right ear, and then back down, and then a little bit more down in the direction of the right side of the pelvis. And notice the difference. Lying on your back compared to lying on your left side, compared to lying on your right side. And now keep your arms still in the same position. Roll back to your left side. And move your right shoulder a little bit toward the ear and a little bit toward the pelvis. Small and slow movement. And really do it in the way that you like it. Notice how when your shoulder moves, your arm follows. Stop with this movement and feel what it's like to sense your shoulder in this position. And now slowly roll onto your back. And feel what it's like to sense your right shoulder in this position. Is it very different from lying on your side? And how does your left shoulder compare to your right? Now bend your knees again, stand your feet. Have your right hand on your left shoulder again. Your elbow is resting on your chest. Now bring your elbow away from your chest again, so it points toward the ceiling in front of your chest. And now move the elbow toward the ceiling and then back again. So you keep it kind of pointing toward the ceiling, but then you also move it more toward the ceiling. And as you do this, it might move across to the left a little as well. Let that happen. Can you reach forward as if someone is gently pulling on your elbow? And maybe when you find it very difficult to understand, get your own elbow and very lightly pull it toward the ceiling, if that helps understanding the movement. And then once that is clear, try it again without the help of your other hand. And can you feel what's happening in your shoulder blade as you bring the right elbow closer to the ceiling a little bit? What's happening in your shoulder blade? And notice that for your elbow to move, it pulls on the arm, and for the arm to move, the shoulder blade has to move with it because it's connected. The shoulder blade has to slide away from the spine so the elbow can move forward. Do you feel it? Now let go of this movement. Bring your right arm in front of you, fingers pointing toward the ceiling, and a few times reach toward the ceiling and notice if something has changed. And once you've reached 2-3 times, put your arm down and rest for a moment. And notice how you're resting compared to the beginning of the lesson. Can you notice your breathing? And what do you sense between your pelvis and your chest as you breathe? Bend your knees again and put your feet standing. And does anything change in your torso as you breathe when you do this? Does some place get easier to breathe when you have your knees bent and your feet standing? Maybe not, maybe yes. Maybe it's unclear. That's also totally fine. Now again, reach your right arm forward and see if you can reach without interfering with your breathing. So you reach and then you stop reaching and your breath is also happening. It maybe goes together with the reaching and unreaching, or it has its own pace and is separate. Or maybe there is a moment when your breath is tripped up by the movement, that you hold your breath. Or maybe you stop breathing. What they always say is if you don't know, then breathe Maybe in as you reach and breathe out as you stop reaching, or breathe out as you reach and breathe in as you stop reaching. That's kind of up to you, what's most comfortable or what you're most familiar with. And then you can learn how to keep track of that you are actually breathing, or when you don't breathe anymore. And let go, put the arm down and rest. And what does the floor tell you now? Bend your knees. Put your arm in front of you again. And now imagine you are just a skeleton. Arm bone connected to the shoulder bone. Shoulder bone is connected to the collarbone. Collarbone connected to the breastbone. And the breastbone connected to your ribs. Your ribs are connected to your spine, which goes up toward your head and down toward your pelvis and across to the other arm. If someone were pulling your right arm upward, how would this move you? How would this pull through your skeleton? Do it a few times and notice that it's like dominoes. One piece moves, the next piece, the next piece. And if your arm reaches forward, look a little to the left with your head and your eyes. And then come back again. So as you start to reach, your head rolls to the left a little bit. And as you stop reaching, also let the head roll back to the beginning position. And repeat this a few times. And notice if you move them at the same time, or if maybe the arm moves first and then the head, or the head moves first and then the arm. But see if you can let them start and stop at the same time. And the eyes go with the head. So the eyes go also a little bit to the left. Stop and rest. Put your arm down. That's enough resting. Bend your legs. Stand your feet. Put your arm back up. And look at your hand as you reach forward. And then, so your head rolls to the right a little bit as you reach forward. And your eyes follow. And then go back down again. And your head looks forward again. Your arm comes back. And repeat this a few times. So as you reach your hand toward the ceiling, your head rolls a little bit toward the arm and looks at the hand. And notice which feels more natural to you. Is it this one? Or maybe not moving the head at all? Or looking to the left as you reach? So look at your hand as you reach forward. And now a few times, if you reach your hand toward the ceiling, look at your hand, but roll your head to the left. And repeat this a few times. So you reach with your right arm, your eyes look at your hand, but your head's rolling left, to the left a bit. And you keep breathing at the same time. And put your arm down and rest. Bend your right knee and have your left leg long. And your right knee is bent and your foot standing on the floor. But on the, not crossing the leg, just on the same side. Yes, yes. And now lift the right side of your pelvis a little bit by pressing the right foot into the floor. And then bring it back down again. Go slowly. So you press your right foot into the floor so the right side of your pelvis comes a little bit off the floor. And then you let go again. And now put your right hand in front of you. Keep the legs the same. And reach your right hand a little bit toward the ceiling and then back again. And now can you lift the right side of your pelvis and reach with your right hand both at the same time? And then let go. And repeat this a few times. So as you press your right foot into the floor, right side of your pelvis comes off the floor a bit and you reach toward the ceiling with your hand. And now next time your arm is reaching and your pelvis is up, only bring your pelvis back and let your arm reach. And then go back up again with the pelvis. And next time your pelvis and your shoulder are up, bring only your shoulder back or your arm back and let the pelvis up in the air. And now alternate. One time bring the right shoulder back and leave the pelvis in the air. And the next time bring the pelvis back and leave the shoulder in the air. And let go of this movement. Bend both knees, stand both feet, and just easily reach your right arm toward the ceiling a little bit. And see how you're doing this now. And let go. Rest your arm. Bring your arm down and rest. And notice if there's a difference between one side and the other. In your breathing, in your chest, in your rib cage. And how are you noticing yourself in each of the places and all of them? Now slowly roll to your side, come up to sit, and notice your arms and legs and how you sit. And when you're ready, come up to stand. And take your noticing up with you. And notice when it disappears, this noticing of yourself. And then just take your time and let it come back so you can notice yourself again. And now just notice how you stand. Thank you for joining this lesson. I hope you liked it as much as I do. And if you need, you can walk it out a bit also. You know, if you want to walk it out, that's fine also. Thank you.